New to 40k or just starting with the best chapter? We have you covered, and we'll be showing you how to get your first 1000 points onto the table. It's still not too late to join our ongoing monthly Patreon only Combat Patrol giveaway. It is getting drawn on the 25th and currently grants you a 1 in 15 chance of winning for as little as £3. The more we make, the more we will give away. Our Chapter Master campaign is coming to a close soon, with the Global Narrative campaign being released to the public shortly, where your actions in games will change the outcome. The Dark Angels operate in 3 distinct wings. The first company is known as the DEATHWING. Sporting bone white armour, these elite veterans of the chapter are primarily all equipped in tactical dreadnought armour. Although since the Indomitus Crusade, members of the Blade Guard and more recently the Stern Guard have joined their ranks, further increasing their tactical flexibility. In-game, the Deathwing are as tough as they come and pack a terrifying punch both in shooting and melee, being equipped with deadly power fists, maces and thunderhammers. The Green Wing is every other Dark Angel that is not part of the first or second companies. They form the core of any Dark Angel strike force, bringing an array of weapons and units to get any job done. In-game, don't mistake this wing as normal Space Marines. They have some devastating combinations unique to only the Dark Angels, whilst being able to field named characters that have existed in the lore longer than I've been alive. Unlike other Space Marine chapters, the Dark Angels have 2 veteran companies, the second being the RAVENWING. The majority of the RAVENWING fight from the saddles of assault bikes, supported by brothers piloting various land speeders or atmospheric assault fighters. The RAVENWING are ideal for fast assault missions. In-game, don't let this fool you. Units such as the RAVENWING Black Knights are close combat monsters, specialising in killing enemy monsters and vehicles with ease. The bike-mounted plasma guns don't hurt either. Starting with the Deathwing, I would recommend getting the new Terminators that are easily available in large quantities due to the release of Leviathan, and running them as Deathwing Terminators. In-game, their points cost is high, as each squad is rock solid with massive damage output. As a new player, I recommend use of Terminators as they won't get annihilated if you make mistakes. You can pick squads of these up for around £29 on eBay. However, if you visit Warhammer trading pages on Facebook, you may find people wanting to trade or sell them at around £20 a set. The Captain in Terminator armour will be your leader, and you really can't go wrong with it, as he only makes the Deathwing Terminators better, letting you use key stratagems for free and making charges easier. We've made a full video on Deathwing combinations, check that out for a more in-depth dive. Once again, you can pick this guy up for around £20 on eBay, however most people who bought multiple sets of Leviathan are probably selling him for as little as £10. The most key set here is the Deathwing Command Squad. It's not the most clear, but this set makes Deathwing Terminators, Deathwing Command Squads and the highly elite Deathwing Knights. The reason for this suggestion is that in combination with the new Terminators, you can build the Deathwing Knights and use all the spare bits, which you will have loads of, to spice up the new Terminators by making them look properly Deathwing. You can also pick this kit up for about £30 from Goblin Gaming, which is one of the cheapest I've seen out there. Personally, I've never ordered from them, so comment below if they are reliable. For your first 1000 points, I would recommend running and buying 1 Terminator Captain, 2 sets of the new Terminators and 2 sets of the Deathwing Command Squad. Build one as the Knights and one as the Command Squad, whilst using the spares to upgrade the new Terminators. Not only does this give you enough to play 1000 point games, it also is fairly meta whilst coming in at a respectable £138 with discount taken into account. Personally, I would want all my Terminators in the same scale, so I'd buy the Deathwing Command kit just for the bits and purchase an additional 2 sets of Terminators and use the parts to make them into the aforementioned list. It does up the price, but the end result will be more aesthetically pleasing if you care about those kind of things. In theory, the Green Wing is the easiest to start with. For as little as £76 you can begin with a Combat Patrol set which contains a 500 point force that is playable right out of the box, with all the rules being free on the Warhammer community website. Using this as an entry point, I would go on to add Azrael, the Grand Master of the Dark Angels. Not only is this character amazing in game, it's one of my favourite models that Games Workshop produces. And he will synergise well with most units. For full details, we have a video based entirely around Azrael, which I would suggest watching before fielding this force. I would add a 10-man squad of Hellblasters next, which will pack a heavy punch to your force, whilst also keeping in theme with the historical love for plasma the chapter has retained over the years. This unit is amazing in general this edition and can tear elite infantry apart and even put in work against vehicles if they choose to overcharge. They only become more effective for the Dark Angels due to the synergies they have with their rules and characters like Azrael. Lastly, I'd suggest grabbing another box of intercessors. You will only need 5 for the army, but it's nice to have the option to expand early. This unit has reliable and flexible firepower, being able to gain bonuses at all times, whether they are advancing at speed or remaining steady and stationary. More importantly, this battle line unit will be key to your ability to play the game due to their ability to hold objectives and score you victory points reliably. The total points cost comes to 970. This is by not using 5 of the intercessors, which will take you slightly over the 1000 point threshold. It's a respectable force with strong character and vehicle support from the awesome Dreadnought. Buying these units is highly desirable at a total cost of £158, if you buy through a decent discount, that is. Once again, the best retail prices I have found were from Goblin Gaming. Please let us know below if they are reliable, as the last thing we want is potentially new hobbyists having a nightmare when purchasing their first model kits. Zooming in, we have the RAVENWING. I find this wing the most thematic and easily recognisable from across a room. Hobby-wise, it's one of the easier ones to paint and get on the table due to the dominant colour being black, so even if you want to get them undercoated just to get some games in, it's at least the correct colour. Paint your models. The Chaplain on bike is an excellent sculpt and synergises with this suggested list, both buffing the Outriders and offering decent combat ability. The core of your army will be formed around the 2 Outrider squads. I suggest taking max squads of 6 bikes with the optional ATV that can attach to them. Don't glue the gun on the ATV, as this will allow you to swap between the anti-tank gun and the really cool Gatling gun. This unit can form a reliable line of anti-infantry fire whilst being able to manoeuvre with their high speed to set up for a brutal charge to finish off their target. Don't throw them in recklessly, as they will bounce off larger or tougher units. Finishing up is the Command Squad. This kit can be built as either the Black Knights or the Black Knight Command Squad. For the list, however, I would recommend building the Command Squad, as it offers better all-round combat and buffs. In the long run, you will want more of these kits to build the Black Knight, who can drop monsters and vehicles with ease. Grabbing the below options will give you a 990 point force, which is pretty reasonable. However, this does come in at £234, which is the most expensive out of all of the wings so far. And whilst it's not bad by any means, I'd arguably say it's got the least teeth for 1000 points. So this does come down to how much do you want to spend on your initial entry. So starting with Dark Angels, I'd have to say the DEATHWING are the clear winners, as they are easily obtainable at lower prices due to the release of Leviathan, putting Emperors knows how many of these kits out there in the wild. Their high points value that reflects their ability on the tabletop means you need less models and therefore the army costs you less money. DEATHWING are certainly a relevant choice in the meta whilst remaining iconic. The downside of these guys is that their bone white armour can be a difficult scheme for beginner hobbyists to tackle. However, there are plenty of great tutorials which will help see you to victory both at the painting desk and on the tabletop. See our DEATHWING video for more combinations. The Green Wing costs slightly more than the DEATHWING, but remain a relevant pick for top spot. The list means you do get Azrael, who is an absolute beast, and if we're talking rules, is an auto-take unit due to the buffs and command abilities he brings to the table. This choice also gives you the largest variety of models, whereas the other 2 options will leave you painting the same or similar models due to having less of a model range because they are specialised armies. However, it does land you with the Inceptors, who look like Buzz Lightyear and are far from anyone's favourite models. The Fastbeat Menaces will always win my unbiased competition of the best looking wing on the tabletop. In game, having an entire army that can zoom across the board and manoeuvre grants you tons of tactical flexibility, which alone can be enough to edge out a win. The downside, as discussed, is that they're the highest cost, and the core of this force being Outriders means mistakes could cost you, and against super tough armies will be difficult for you to deal with, as they are okay but not top tier. That being said, once you expand towards a 2k army, adding in more Black Knights will make up for this. Please keep in mind you are not locked into taking any single wing. You can take a mix of any and all wings, and I would suggest that you do this to allow you to enjoy the Dark Angel army in its full glory and tactical might. If you need any help, please hop into the Discord and ask away, and we will get you squared away. If you have made it to the end, drop us a like and a sub, as you clearly liked us enough to stick around. And don't forget all our giveaways, including the Combat Patrol Patreon only ones, which you can be auto entered into every month for as little as £3. Thanks for watching.